And I think Elon Musk will be in the history books in ways that your mom is not. But you tell me who's more important. Now, one of the reasons I kind of hammer the God nail a little hard sometimes because I think it's so important because of the social imaginary that has wiped him out of our square and made it difficult for people who consider themselves intellectuals, people who consider themselves reasonable, realistic people, have a hard time talking about God in direct terms. I do. I mean, I think a lot of people do. That we don't want to say, oh, like, yes, I feel that God wants me to do that. Now you're talking like someone from Oklahoma, and you know what those people are like. And so I think it's just really, really important that we start to say, like, no, this is just a reality of life. A reality of life is it doesn't make sense that this world came out of nothing, that it obviously was created, that our Creator is connected to us in some ways, and in some ways the stories that we tell and the things we know and the things we believe and feel are all part of this creation, and they are good. It is good to want to have children. It is good for a man to want a woman and a woman to want a man, and that it's good that a man not be alone and a woman not be alone. These are good things. These normal things are good. And we understand that even creation involves things that are abnormal, and there's some pain to being abnormal, but it's not always bad. A genius violinist is abnormal, but it's a good thing. And so we have to, discern these things. But we have to talk about these things and I think it's important that sophisticated, intellectual, cultured people do it because ideas tend to trickle down, because a lot of people are intellectually insecure and they think, well, if this professor guy, if all the professor guys are telling me there's no God, maybe I should keep it down a little bit. And that's how they start to inject this fog of unknowing into our culture. And the thing is, it is simply true that when you take away religion, some other wrong religion will take its place. So when you get rid of God, some earthbound religion will take its place. And of course, we've seen this. We've seen that leftism is a replacement for religion, that people believe in it with the same tenacity. And, it's very unfortunate that religion has become a phrase meaning unreasoning faith, because there's nothing in Christianity that is unreasoning. You accept something by faith because you feel that it has been demonstrated, not proved. You can't prove the existence of God because proof is a material thing, but we feel that the existence of God has been demonstrated, and now we have faith in that demonstration, and then we can start to talk about the things that follow from it in a totally logical, reasonable way. But religion has come to mean blind belief in something that can't be proven, and that's just not what it is. But that's what leftism is. Leftism is a blind belief that men can become women. And even if science says it's not, that you're still a good person for believing it. And what a terrible, terrible thing it is. I heard AOC saying, this is terrible, stupid, that people should be banned from bathrooms according to their sex. And I thought, AOC should start a group called Democrats Who Don't Care About the Feelings of Rape Victims. That would be a good group for AOC to run when Nancy Mace is fighting to have her space protected as it has been through all of human history. All right. So the reason it's important is because when it goes away, it leaves a vacuum into which other wrong things come. And one of those things is this idea from the left that the Christian morals that they can't get rid of should be applied as a general principle instead of as an individual path to salvation. And they confuse those things all the time. So there was a resolution in the case of Laken Riley. And I'm sure you all remember Laken Riley, say her name, a young lady, a college student who was brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant. And this illegal immigrant was found, illegal alien, I should say. He's not an immigrant. He's an illegal alien. He was a member of the Venezuela gang that we hear so much about, Tren de Aragua. And he was convicted in a Georgia court of the murder of Laken Riley and sentenced to life without parole. And she went for a jog and he followed her, strangled her, beat her to death with a rock. So after the conviction, the family shows up for the sentencing hearing to talk to the judge. And her stepfather came forward and read her final journal entry about how she looked forward to meeting her one-day husband and to being a good Christian wife. And I may take my earset out while we play this because I can't listen to it without cracking up, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able to talk about it, but you should listen to this. Cut 4.
To my future husband, I want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I'm working every day to become the best wife I can be. By working through my current relationships to best prepare me for ours. and our kids one day. I'm focusing on God and what He defines as a faithful Christian life, and so that I can best embody those characteristics. I pray that you know that it is with my full faith and trust in God that I know this relationship has been handcrafted by Him. I pray that we continue to glorify the Lord, prioritize Him in every aspect of our lives, and raise our family, our future family, to be God-fearing Christians as well.
I love Matt Walsh's work. I love the work he's been doing. I don't like him personally. Obviously, the guy's intolerable, but the stuff he's been doing. But when he asked the question, what is a woman? A lot of people tried to come up with a definition. It's an adult human female. It's add 2 X chromosomes. It's, we're born with this body type and this body equipment and all that. What you just heard, that journal entry, that's the answer to the question. That's what is the answer to what is a woman. Because this is an important part of faith in God, is you start to understand that our words are not just words, and they don't just express scientific materialist details. That's a mistake that you get when you take God out of the schools and when you take God out of the public arena. You make the mistake of thinking our words are simply descriptions of physical reality. They are not. When you use a word like wife, like mother, like woman, you are using a word with spiritual meaning, and that meaning was just expressed in that journal entry. And listen, as you know, I keep saying this, but that person, that woman, that meaning of woman is the center of the world. It is central to the human world. And I'm not trying to be sentimental or denigrate man or anything. Elon Musk, I think it's so cool that Elon Musk is building rockets to go to Mars. What a wonderful thing. And I think Elon Musk will be in the history books in ways that your mom is not. But you tell me who's more important, okay? If that somebody's in the history books, it's just because that's what history is. History is about things that change, the direction of the general life. But with all respect to Nancy Mace, we don't need a single female congressperson. If every woman in Congress went home, the world would run fine. If every mother stopped doing what she was doing, the world would fall to pieces. Now, here is a clip of Josh Hawley, God bless him, talking to Alejandro Mayorkas, the head of Homeland Security.
Nothing is done to this guy. He had a criminal record to start with. He's in the country on illegal grounds. You have falsely and illegally allowed him in. He commits a crime against a child. He's not prosecuted. It's expunged. In November, get this, in November, Ibarra files an application for employment authorization. And unbelievably, on December the 9th, 2023, it's approved. So this is your policies in action, Mr. Secretary. A criminal is permitted into this country on grounds flatly not permitted, flatly contradictory to the statute. He commits a crime against a child, and then he gets a work permit. He gets a work permit. You want to know why all of the jobs in the last 2 or 3 years have gone to illegal migrants? Working people in this country can't get a job. Their unemployment rate's high. Why? Because of things like this. And then what's he do? Well, we all know. Then in February, he commits the heinous crime against Laken Riley.
Not only was he given a work permit, he was put up at the Roosevelt Hotel in New York, which I've stayed in and is a lovely hotel. He was given a free plane ticket to Georgia, courtesy of you. Your tax dollars went to doing that. The district attorney in Georgia, where he was tried, Deborah Gonzalez, appointed a special prosecutor to take over the case because she had been criticized for being one of these lenient prosecutors, and she said her office will no longer seek the death penalty, and when considering charging defendants, she would, quote, take into account collateral consequences to undocumented defendants. This woman, who is, as I say, the center of our universe, the human world, this woman at the center of our human world was battered to death by Joe Biden, by leftists, by leftism. They killed her. They killed her. And they argued for it in Christian terms by saying that the Bible says we should take in the stranger. We should welcome the stranger. This is a false Christian argument. I wrote about this on my Substack with Spencer, thenewjerusalem.substack.com. I said, when someone says we must open our borders because the Bible demands we welcome the stranger, he is talking nonsense. An individual might, in a specific instance, look the other way as a mother sneaks her child through a checkpoint, but a president who leaves the border open is a wicked buffoon, inviting chaos, violence, and cruelty into his nation without regard for the laws he has sworn to uphold. The parent of a murder victim may forgive the killer, but a judge doesn't have that right. Society must deliver justice even where the individual shows mercy. This is why Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, a devout Catholic, said the Christian judge is not a judge who gives the law a Christian interpretation, but a judge who does his best to interpret the law as it is written. Because God is real, right? When we don't talk about him, we allow leftist buffoons to get reality wrong. And when they get reality wrong, a woman like Laken Riley, a Christian woman, the pinnacle of God's creation is a Christian woman, in my opinion, is snuffed out by a false religion, leftism. That's the fight we're in. That's the fight I believe we have just started to win with the help of Donald Trump. For more Klavan-y wonderfulness, like and subscribe. And for even more, subscribe to The Andrew Klavan Show, wherever you get your podcasts.